All right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are going to now preview the game between the Broncos and the Chiefs tonight. And we'll go through the. First we'll talk about for the bettors out there. Right now, the Chiefs are a 10.5-point favorite over the Broncos, and the over/under is 47. And 47, I hate that number because I did a parlay last week, and I talked about this earlier in the week. And one of the legs didn't hit, and that was picking the over in the Giants-Dolphins game. I picked over 47.5. And what did the final score end up being? 47. So, yeah, I hate that number right now. So that's what the game's currently at. Obviously, this game is in Arrowhead. Chiefs are leading the division at 4-1. Broncos are in last place at 1-4. So, I mean, who do I like in this game? Of course, I think it's the Chiefs. However, I do think that the Broncos will cover the spread tonight. It's kind of crazy, but I don't know. For me, I don't really trust the Chiefs with some of these big spreads. Now, of course, I picked the Bears when they were getting a lot of points against the Chiefs a couple weeks ago, and the Chiefs just absolutely dismantled them. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I mean, listen, now the Broncos, they came back and beat the Bears, and it's a divisional game. And you know what, the Broncos, they played some close games against the Chiefs last year. I mean, the Chiefs were killing them in Denver, and then the Broncos ended up coming back and making it close. Russell Wilson actually got hurt in that game. But against them in Kansas City, I think they lost by 10. So, and listen, the number's 10.5. So, I'm going to take it. And I don't know. I just don't really trust the Chiefs. I mean, listen, they didn't play well. They didn't really play that well against the Jets. I mean, they won against the Vikings only by 7. And this is a divisional game. And Russell Wilson, he's been good this year. So, you know what? I think the Broncos could keep it, within 2 scores. I mean, tonight could be, a blowout, and I'm completely wrong about it. Because, listen, the Broncos' defense has been terrible this year. So that's one thing that really worries me, because that's kind of been the strength of this team for a while, because they've been going through that QB carousel, Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, Joe Flacco, Drew Lock. I mean, it's just, and now Russell Wilson. But that's been the strength of the team. And now all of a sudden the defense, I don't know what's happened to it, but it's literally one of the worst defenses in football. And the offense doesn't look that bad. It really doesn't look that bad. I mean, Russell Wilson, we went over it yesterday with the stats. He's top 5 in passer rating. He's got 1,200 yards passing, 11 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. I mean, that's really good. That is really good. It's just the team is 1-4. So, and then on the other side, you got Patrick Mahomes, who's having a good season as well. I mean, there's no surprise there. Almost 1,300 yards passing, 10 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Isaiah Pacheco, he's had a good start to his season, 325 yards rushing. He's got 3 touchdowns. Travis Kelce's got 3 touchdowns after missing one game, the first game of the season. And honestly, if he plays, the Chiefs probably win that game, so they should be undefeated right now. But I don't want to disrespect the Lions, because the Lions are one of my teams this year. So, but I think if Kelce plays, I think the Chiefs probably win. But and right now, Marvin Mims is actually their leading receiver. He's got 246 receiving yards and a touchdown. He's been good. They're rookie. So, and then you look at the stats for both teams. Usually what I do is I just look on CBS. So right now, the Broncos, they're averaging 328 yards per game on offense, which is like middle of the pack. And the Chiefs, their defense gives up 301 yards per game. So, and that's 9th. Passing yards, the Chiefs are 8th. They average 263.6. Broncos average 242. So Chiefs are 8th. Broncos are 13th. Rushing yards, the Chiefs are actually 12th. I mean, Pacheco's been very good this year, and I think he's going to have a very good game tonight. I hope so. Again, for fantasy purposes as well. Broncos are 19th. Then in points, Chiefs are 9th, and the Broncos are 10th. So that's an encouraging stat. Yeah, I mean, listen, I really do think the Broncos can. I mean, but their defense, that's the one thing that's going to throw a wrench in this whole thing. And then when you look at defense now, Chiefs pass defense, they're 14th. Broncos are 28th. Against the run, Chiefs are 11th. Broncos are 32nd. And then points allowed. Chiefs defense is 5th. Broncos defense is 32nd. So, yeah, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I really think that the Chiefs are gonna win, but I really do think the Broncos can't cover. And I'm talking myself into it. I'm gonna take the Broncos with the spread, but Chiefs are gonna win outright because they're not losing an outright. It's just not happening. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the Chiefs' defense isn't bad. Broncos' defense is horrendous. But I don't know. The other thing too is something's off with the Chiefs. They're still doing well. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. It seems like they're struggling a little bit on offense. Excuse me. I mean, obviously they dismantled the Bears, but the Bears, were one of the worst teams in football. I mean, that might change after this week, depending on how they play here. I mean, because, they just put up 40 points against the Commanders, and maybe, they played well against the Broncos too, but the Broncos are bad, of course. But, outside of that, though, I mean, you lose in week 1. I mean, you barely get by the Jags, 17-9. I mean, you barely get by the Jets, and then you barely, you struggled a little bit with the Vikings, but you ended up winning that game as well. Yeah, I mean, I could see the Broncos keeping it close. It's just their defense. I mean, listen, the Chiefs went up against the Bears defense and just completely shredded them. So they're probably going to do the same to the Broncos. But you know what? Russell Wilson's played well. And you know what? Maybe they don't cover. But maybe they get that back door. Hey, if they backdoor it, they still cover. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, the Broncos, they need to win this game. I mean, they're in last place. Their season is probably going nowhere again. But, and how does that look for Sean Payton? Because, Sean Payton did a lot of talking, especially, taking shots at Nathaniel Hackett. And now how does that look? You're coaching one of the worst defenses in football, and you're in last place. And at least with Nathaniel Hackett, the defense was good. Now it's one of the worst defenses in football. I mean, they're at the bottom in a lot of categories. Now they're going up against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, listen, at wide receiver, I mean, the Chiefs, they're a team that needs a wide receiver. They just do. I mean, I talked about some of the trade candidates. I mean, maybe the Chiefs try to inquire on some of those guys because, I mean, Rashee Rice, he's got a couple of touchdowns this year. Valdez-Scantling, Justin Watson, those are like your deep ball guys, but you're not scared of them. Although Justin Watson had a couple of nice catches on Sunday. That 3rd and 17 that Mahomes just threw up to him on 3rd down, and he, ripped it away from the defensive back of the Vikings to make the catch. Kadarius Toney's been a disappointment. Obviously the first game of the year he had all those drops. The Chiefs definitely need a wide receiver. Running game, I think they're fine. Pacheco's been solid. You got McKinnon as well, to be the change of pace guy. And, of course, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's kind of the forgotten guy as well. And, of course, you have Travis Kelce. That's your number one wide receiver. But I think they need another receiver. And last year, I mean, they won the Super Bowl with most of those guys. I mean, Valdez-Scantling, Toney, Sky Moore, who I forgot to mention. But they don't have Juju Smith-Schuster this year. Although, I guess he would make some difference, but, not really. And I think some people would point to the fact that they miss Eric Bieniemy. And I think that's kind of true. But you know what? They got Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce. I mean, Chiefs are going to figure it out. I'm not worried about them. I mean, in 2021, it looked like people were like, hey, they might not even make the playoffs the way they're playing. Teams figured them out. And then what happened? They made it to the AFC Championship game. Now, it was great up until, hold on, try to hold in a sneeze there again. It was great up until the second half against the Bengals in that championship game because then they only scored 3 points. But then they won the Super Bowl last year without Tyreek Hill. So you know what? I'm not worried about them. They'll be fine. But there's just something's off with them right now. But I think they'll figure it out. Now, to be honest, I don't really look at them as the favorite in the AFC at the moment. But we're still we're almost at the halfway point in the season. I mean, the Chiefs are going to be one of the final teams. And Patrick Mahomes has never played in a road playoff game. So, I think ultimately, I mean, they might end up with the 1 seed still. And it's got to go through Arrowhead, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, this is a big game for the Broncos. I got them covering. Let me know what you guys think. How do you see this game shaping out? Is it going to be a blowout? Are the Broncos going to cover? I hope the Broncos cover. It's a risk, but it's a risk I am willing to take. But I'll at least sit here and say the Chiefs, they'll cover the spread. So I'm going to say, let's do a final score here. I'm going to say the Chiefs win. I'm going to say 30-23. I'm going to say it's a 1-score game. Chiefs put up 30. Broncos, they cover the spread. So that's my prediction. Let me know what you guys think, when it comes to this game. Tomorrow, we'll preview the rest of the games for this week. We'll recap the game from tonight. That's like one of my favorite, and I'll do my picks as well. I'm really looking forward to that. That's, recapping all the Monday and Fridays are like the best shows because like you recap all the games, and then Friday you're like picking all the games and previewing all of them. So I'm really looking forward to that tomorrow. And then also we got I'll be doing my GSMC baseball podcast after that, and recap all the division series there. So make sure to tune into that if you're a baseball fan. But yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the show today. I'll be tuning into the game. Got some, and also hopefully Pacheco for fantasy purposes does well. I think he's the only person I have from the Chiefs on any of my teams this year, and Butker, of course. I'm a Harrison Butker guy as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it with the show today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back again tomorrow, 11 a.m. We'll recap this game and we'll preview all the games for this upcoming weekend. So really looking forward to that. Working on getting all 4 parts of yesterday's show up on both the YouTube channels, so in case you missed anything. I mean, the full live stream is there, but of course, if you want to just go to the segment that you want to watch, I'll be working on that once I wrap up here. Well, I also have to do the Patreon after this. That's literally right after I'm done streaming here. So, but yeah, with that is all the time that we have for today. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll try to get to all the comments, of course. And, so I will be going to record the Patreon now. And, we'll be back again tomorrow. Preview all the games for this weekend. So, with that, I'm Kenneth Grunfelder signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day. Enjoy the game tonight. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.